Hey everybody, happy Halloween. Yes, the day is upon us. October 31st. Halloween. How is everybody feeling out there? Hope everyone's had a great day. Uh, you did some trick or treating, you handed out some candy, you got dressed up, and you kept it safe and you had fun and you just enjoy this day where we get to be anybody and we get to be anybody we want any day, but to actually, dress up and be a crazy, spooky, silly, whatever character we want to be, and and have fun with it. It's been a it's been a great month. I've It's been a pretty busy month, pretty filled with highs and filled with lows. Um, and the highs definitely, I would say, outweigh the lows. The only lows would be, you know, what's going on personally, which I've already touched on with my eyesight, amongst other things. Just can't catch a break. But the highs, definitely. You guys tuned in every day. You guys are active in the comments. And I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart, for doing that. But I'm not going to get crazy emotional. This is a day to have fun. This is a day where we celebrate, and what film better to celebrate on Halloween than probably one of the best movies that almost didn't happen, that almost wasn't released, that I'm glad finally came out, and being an anthology film, which I absolutely love anthology films. Yes, we're talking about Trick or Treat. Yes, day 31. This movie, if you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. You should have watched it yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, 10 minutes ago. I mean, this movie is just from start to finish, just nonstop angst and horror and suspense and thrills, jump scares. You got the blood, you got the gore, you got a great story, you got a character that's throughout the film, and the film, you just got to look at everything in the background, because there's characters that appear throughout the entire film, even though this film starts off at a present time, and then it goes to an earlier time, then it goes to a later time, and then back to early, and then back to present, and then it wraps up at the end with the beginning of the film. It's like a perfectly wrapped Christmas gift, bow tied and wrapped and just laid out perfectly. Like, I have zero negative remarks about this film, and I know I'm not the only one that thinks that. There's a lot of people that have watched, reviewed, talked about this movie, and it's probably their favorite. It's probably their go-to movie to watch on Halloween. This has been on my list, and when I wrote up my list and started making my list about a month and a half ago, 2 months, when I decided on doing this, day 31, Trick or Treat was already etched, as the last film that I wanted to watch and review for Halloween. So let's get into it. We'll talk about the plot of the different stories. I have 37 facts I'd like to talk about or mention about the movie, and then show you some pictures and images, not only from the movie, but that I made to again incorporate DadPooL into the movie review. And then I have a surprise announcement at the end of this video. You might want to stay tuned for that announcement. It's yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. So let's kick into it. So we're talking about Trick or Treat, 2007, came to the United States in 2009. Even with its limited release, it still is a cult following. It finally had a theatrical release for the first time just last year. This movie was mainly on streaming. It did like the whole film festival tour. It was like I said, it was a direct to DVD, Blu-ray release in 2009. A budget of about $12 million. And again, with limited box office, it didn't do too well. UK did about 30,000. But again, this movie is still successful based on the reception, the numbers, just the amount of love that is for this movie. It went to instant cult classic status, as opposed to some movies waiting 10, 20 years post-release to become that cult classic. This is an instant. This is one of the, again, better shot, better directed films, directed by Michael Daugherty, produced by Bryan Singer. Yes, that Bryan Singer who brought you X-Men. It's a very, it's not a very long film for being an anthology that has 4 stories. It's only an hour and 22 minutes. So you're an hour and 22 minutes. It flies by. It draws you in, and you're like, that's it. I want more. Like, this movie did something perfect. It captivated an audience, made them wanting more when the end credits came up. I know it was just recently released that Michael Daugherty is pursuing a sequel. Can't wait for more on that. So yeah, just make sure you're always checking whatever news source that you're looking at for movie news, and make sure it's reliable, and look for those updates. So yeah, that's gonna be a great movie. And I don't think the sequel will diminish anything this first movie did, because there's so much more to tell, and this type of format with the anthology works. I mean, look at the films that we have. We had Creepshow. Yeah, we had a third one. Didn't work. Then we had the TV series that's long running. This movie, I would even say Hell House works. I mean, there's so much, and anthologies are, to me, we need more of them. I think it's a template for success if it's pulling from proper source material, if it's original or something that's already written. I think it could be, and as long as you can adapt that to screen properly, whether you go live action or you go animated. We don't have enough animated horror cartoons. Yeah, there was the Creepshow, holiday specials. There was this one really dark movie. I can't think of the name of it. Maybe someone in chat can let me know. But the premise was this boy and he's being like peer pressured by a character named Smoke to do like bad things, and like all the cartoon universe comes together to try to help that kid not do those bad things. Like there's very few animated good horror out there. Like maybe I would love to do an animated horror. I got some great stories. If there's anyone that wants to get together, we can discuss that. You know where to find me in the description. Hit me up on Twitter. But let's get to the plot of Trick or Treat. Like I said, there's like 4 stories, about 15 minutes in length or so, roughly. But they, again, it all intertwines from the beginning prologue to the stories to the epilogue. It's I don't know, it's just perfect. I can't, so many words, I don't want to repeat myself, but this movie is so good. So this film takes place on Halloween night in the fictional town of Warren Valley, Ohio. The plot follows a non-linear narrative with characters crossing paths throughout the film. At the center of the story is Sam, a peculiar trick-or-treater in an orange footy pajama costume who appears to enforce the rules of Halloween. In the opening scene, Emma and her Halloween-loving husband Henry return home after a celebratory night. Emma, who hates Halloween, blows out their jack-o'-lantern before midnight against Harry's superstitious advice. As Henry relaxes and falls asleep in the house, Emma begins tearing down the decorations, but is then ambushed and murdered by an unseen assailant. Hours later, Henry discovers her mutilated corpse on display with the decorations. So, great intro, great kickoff to the movie. We do see Henry and Emma throughout the film in the background while these other characters are going through their ordeals. And when we get to the end, it kind of comes full circle with these characters. So let's talk about the principal. Charlie is a child who vandalizes jack-o'-lanterns, is caught stealing candy from an unattended bowl left by his school principal, Stephen Wilkins, played by Dylan Baker. Did a great job with his character. He does creepy very well, and first time seeing this, I'm like, wow, because I'm so used to seeing him as Lizard, you know, or Dr. Connors and Spider-Man and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. So he wasn't a bad guy yet. He was still a good guy teacher. So seeing him change characters, you mainly seen him in those comedic, laid-back roles, like even in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He was the funny pickup truck guy, and you know, for him to be this evil principal, you know, killing his kids it was just like a total twist. So seemingly taking the offense in stride, Wilkins offers Charlie a candy bar while lecturing Charlie on the importance of respecting Halloween rules and traditions. Charlie gradually feels more and more unwell until he begins to vomit chocolate and blood, which, that scene, oof, I'm puking, just seeing someone puke and looking at stuff like that just really does make me feel a little unwell. And it looks so, I don't know, like disgusting. It's perfect. It's perfect. Like it's a great practical scene. As Charlie dies, Wilkins reveals that he laced the candy with cyanide, remarking, "You should always check your candy." And that's one thing I do. I mean, not like my son eats a lot of candy, which he'll probably have like 5 pieces of a full bag out of it, and it'll just go to waste. But like you never know with people, especially these days. You never know what could happen. People can disguise illicit drugs as candy because it just looks the same packaging. And then when it's dark at night and you're walking around trick or treat and you're not caring. Most kids are just reaching in that bag and just tearing open something and popping their mouth. I I for one don't allow that. I wait until it's looked through, felt, handled, before, if there's something that he decides he wants to have. That's just something I always do. And I've always done, and even growing up trick or treating, my parents have always done that as well. So while clumsily attempting to hide the murder, he hands out candy to trick or treaters, including Sam. Wilkins attempts to bury Charlie in his backyard along with the body of another victim, but is continually interrupted by his young son Billy, his cantankerous elderly neighbor Mr. Krieg, and Krieg's dog Spite. The other victim turns out to still be alive and struggles in his sack, forcing Wilkins to violently beat him to death with a shovel before anyone can discern the noise. When Wilkins returns indoors, he briefly notices Krieg screaming for help at the window. Wilkins brushes him off before something seems to attack him. Because when Krieg was walking back into his house, Wilkins shouted out, "Happy Halloween," and then he yelled back, "Screw you." So when Krieg is asking for help from Mr. Wilkins, as he's walking in his house, Wilkins just shouts out, "Screw you," like it was like a payback. There you go. So when Wilkins returns indoors, he briefly notices Krieg screaming for help at the window. Wilkins brushes him off before something seems to attack him. Wilkins guides Billy downstairs to carve a jack-o'-lantern. So the whole time you're thinking he's carving a jack-o'-lantern. And he needs help with the eyes. And I'm thinking to myself, why does he need help with the eye? If he did the mouth and the nose, eyes gotta be pretty. What's going on? And this kid just gives off, weird, like Chucky kid vibes, like just the way he's dressed, his hair, just that whole vibe. So as he's guiding Billy downstairs to carve the jack-o'-lantern, hiding a knife behind his back, you gotta get that assumption that maybe he's gonna kill his son. They play it up that way. It's pretty intense. After some hesitation, Wilkins appears to stab Billy. However, Billy is unharmed, and it is revealed that the knife was plunged into Charlie's severed head, the jack-o'-lantern they are about to carve. Holy. And again, we're only maybe 35 minutes into the film, and we've already seen a violent attack by Sam. Well, assuming it's Sam in the beginning with Emma, and now we're getting this. The kid's severed head being carved. Like, what? This movie is, and it's by a kid. This movie is so crazy. It's so good. Oh my god. And then the next story we go into is called The Halloween School Bus Massacre. A group of teenage trick-or-treaters, Macy, Chip, Schrader, and Sarah, are collecting jack-o'-lanterns when they meet devout Halloween traditionalist and autistic savant Rhonda. The group, led by Macy, visits a flooded quarry where she recounts the urban legend of the Halloween School Bus Massacre. In the legend, the weary and resentful parents of 8 seemingly mentally handicapped children bribed their bus driver to dispose of them. Before the driver could complete his plan, one child escaped his shackles and took control of the bus, accidentally driving it off a cliff and into the quarry. The children all drowned, though the driver survived, yet was never heard from again. No one tried to find the bus as the people didn't want it to be found. Macy leaves 8 jack-o'-lanterns by the lake as a tribute to the deceased. The group splits up, leaving Rhonda and Chip behind. Rhonda gets separated and is then pursued by horrifying figures. But once she is hurt while being chased and reduced to tears, the other teens reveal that it was them, disguised as the dead children in an attempt to prank her, all planned by Macy. Schrader realizes that this trick has gone too far and tries to comfort the terrified Rhonda, while a bitter Macy kicks a jack-o'-lantern into the water. The actual undead children emerge from the lake and attack the teens. Rhonda coldly abandons them to their deaths as revenge for their prank. And as she leaves, hang on, I think I got a picture of this. As she leaves, Rhonda encounters Sam and exchanges a nod of respect toward him. So here's Rhonda leaving in that little almost like a mini elevator that gets from the bottom to the top of the quarry. So she leaves and she goes, encounters Sam, and then seemingly walks away. So now the next story is called Surprise Party. Lori, a self-conscious 22-year-old from out of town, joins her older sister Danielle and friends Maria and Janet for Halloween. The girls all select fairy tale princess costumes, encouraging Lori to wear a Little Red Riding Hood costume. A devout Halloween traditionalist, Lori misses trick-or-treating and is uncaring of her friends and sisters. Talks of dates. While the other girls pick up dates and head to a party in the woods, Lori chooses to stay and enjoy the town festival instead. And again, when Lori's walking around that festival, we can see that this takes place prior to the beginning of the film, because we see Emma and Henry walking around, and in the background quite a bit. While the other girls pick up dates and head to a party in the woods, Lori chooses to stay and enjoy the town festival instead. Later, on the way to meet up her friends, she's attacked by a hooded man dressed as a vampire. A bundle of red cloth later falls out of a tree by the girls' bonfire, revealing the injured and frightened vampire. After an arriving Lori remarks that he bit her, Lori's friend unmasks the man revealed to be Stephen Wilkins, who had been out seeking victims at the festival. Remember when he told his son that he had a date? Well, that date was to be out searching for these victims. It's just, this story just mind fucks you so much, because all these things are happening and they're telling an individual story, but that individual story is wrapped and overlapped with characters that you got to pay attention to the words and the dialogue to know that they may show up again, and this is where they're showing up. So this is the date that he was talking about to his son. So Lori's sister and friends all start to shed their clothing and skin and transform into werewolves. Again, a nice transformation scene there. They show them like slitting their back with their nails, and kind of like, pushing out and like pulling off their skin on their arms, pulling up the skin on their legs, and all that, while they're transforming into these hairy beasts. With it being her first time killing someone and having sought out someone who deserves it, Lori transforms and slaughters Wilkins before devouring him. Sam, sitting on a nearby log, watches as the werewolves feast on their deceased dates. And again, Sam is the one constant throughout this entire film. He's always off in the background, whether he's just sitting there, walking in the background. His presence is known. And again, when this movie ends, I really hope that there's a sequel that maybe touches more on Sam and why Sam is Sam. I mean, we know who he is. He's the one that protects. This is like I reviewed Hubie Halloween the other day. Sam is like the horror version of Hubie Halloween. Sam is there to enforce the rules, force Halloween, enforce that certain traditions are done. Just like Hubie Halloween did that in his movie. Sam and Hubie are one. It's just one takes a more violent, you know, gory stance, and the other one is more of a peaceful, you know, subtle happiness comedic guy. So you can definitely see the correlation between those two. And then we come to Sam, the story of Sam Krieg, a curmudgeonly Halloween hater, dresses up his dog to scare off trick-or-treaters at his doorstep. As the night proceeds, Krieg encounters escalating phenomena. The front of the house is egged, the lawn is filled with ornate jack-o'-lanterns, and the hallways and ceilings are scrawled with Halloween and Samhain greetings. Krieg is ambushed by Sam. In their struggle, Krieg eventually manages to unmask his assailant, whose head resembles a grotesque hybrid of a skull and a jack-o'-lantern. Just Sam's quick ninja-like moments, like he's on the wall and then he's flying and you hear that screeching scream that he has, and then as Krieg is shooting him, it's like his insides are like pumpkin guts, and it's, again, he's a great character. He's deserving of becoming a horror icon. We just haven't seen enough of him yet, but if they accomplish a sequel, I think he should etch his name on the list. He'll crack it. He'll crack at least the top 15, top 20. So Krieg shoots Sam several times with a shotgun, apparently killing him. However, Sam begins to reanimate and incapacitates and corners Krieg. Instead of killing him, Sam impales a candy bar in Krieg's lap, completing the tradition of handing out candy on Halloween. Satisfied, Sam spares a confused Krieg and ominously departs. Like, he just manhandled Krieg. He, like, cut his... I hate scenes where they cut the Achilles. Happens so much in horror, and, me tearing my Achilles previously, about 10 years ago, I feel it when someone in the back of the leg is getting cut, whether it's in Pet Sematary or even in Nightmare on Elm Street 3. And then this movie just gets cut right at the lower. Ugh, it's tough to watch it. You just feel it, and then my foot tingles every time I see something like that happen. So again, Sam allows Krieg to survive. Sam departs. Meanwhile, photographs burning in the fireplace reveal that Krieg was the driver from the school bus massacre who went missing. It's, again, everything coming full circle. All the stories intertwining this twisted, dark, haunting Halloween tale. Because, again, I didn't see Krieg being the driver. That was not... I just thought he was a crouchy old man next door. But then did we ever think that Principal Wilkins would be the vampire? So this movie takes you to places that you wouldn't imagine. You wouldn't think of. It's really hard to like predict the story plots. It's just crazy. It's crazy. And then the conclusion. A heavily bandaged Krieg gives candy to trick-or-treaters. On his front porch, he witnessed other characters in the film mill about observing and upholding Halloween tradition. Billy sits on his father's porch, handing out candy and enjoying himself. Rhonda crosses the street casually, pulling her wagon filled with jack-o'-lanterns. Lori and her friends drive by, laughing to each other as Emma and Henry arrive home. So all the events that we see from the beginning of the movie that we don't necessarily see the characters up close and know who they are. Now it's all coming to fruition. Now all the characters are starting to show because we've already seen them throughout the story. Sam is kind of lurking behind a tree, which is that POV we see in the beginning of the film. But now we know it's Sam. He watches Emma prematurely extinguishing the jack-o'-lanterns and moves in to kill her as punishment. Krieg answers another knock at his door, only to be greeted by the undead children from the bus who brutally tear him apart in retribution for their murder. The end. I mean, holy. For an hour and 22 minutes, if you can seriously go in the comments and tell me that you weren't, I don't want to say scared, if you weren't unnerved at one point in this movie, I call BS, because even the most what can I say this? Someone who is used to it, someone who is numb to it, all the violence and gore and horror. If you have to feel something for this movie. There are some graphic parts which are great, which propel this up the list, which is why it's number one. Not only is it a trick or treat movie, and it's appropriate for Halloween, but it's not just someone trying to capitalize on that Halloween catchphrase. Like, they're telling horrifying, gruesome, twisted stories that all mesh together in a way that an anthology should do. And again, with the recent announcement of part 2, let's hope that they continue to build upon the success of this film and carry on the franchise and not dilute it or just do a cash grab, which I don't believe that's Mike Doherty's intentions. I firmly believe he loves what he's doing, and he's doing it not only for fan service, for fan service, but he has that right story. It's the proper time to start telling it. So again, whatever news source that you rely on, make sure you keep close tabs on, because I'm sure announcements will be coming shortly. I know they're limited to what they can do because of the actor strike, but with the writing strike, I think we had a flood of announcements. We had Black Phone 2 sequels. I think it was yesterday. It Follows is going to make a sequel. Like, a lot of these movies that were cult classics were loved and kind of, I don't like using the word elevated horror, but took horror to another level. Like, Black Phone was great. I hope Black Phone 2 is not just a cash grab. I hope it's going to be a great story, and it's not just utilizing the Black Phone name just to put seats in the theater and try to drum up attention. It Follows was a terrifying movie. I hope the sequel. It Follows kind of reminds me of a series called Contracted. I don't know. It's very Contracted. Phase 1 and Phase 2 were two underrated horror movies that no one talks about, but they're so good. It's very similar to It Follows. Girl goes to a party, ends up being with another man. She gets past this like illness / curse, and she's changing throughout the whole movie. and 1 and 2 flow great together. So if those are two that I recommend, Contracted 1, Contracted 2. It's called Phase 1, Phase 2. Definitely check them out. I wish there was a Phase 3. It left it open for a Phase 3. Great actress, Najara Townsend, I think, and then Caroline Williams plays the mom. So, I mean, yeah, those are two movies that really played off each other. But like I said, with sequels, do they work? Are they really going to help a franchise? I guess we'll find out. So let me pull up some facts about the film. I found an article highlighting 37 facts about the movie Trick or Treat. So I thought this would be pretty good information for this movie, especially being a Halloween day watch. So the origins of Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat is an anthology horror film written and directed by Michael Daugherty. It was initially conceived as a short film titled Season's Greetings before being expanded into a feature-length movie. The release of Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat was released straight to DVD in 2009 despite positive reviews from test screenings. However, it quickly gained cult following and became a Halloween favorite. Trick or Treat follows an anthology format, weaving together multiple interconnected stories that take place on Halloween night. This unique structure allows viewers to experience different tales of horror and suspense. Which, again, that template and that plan is, if executed well, tells a great story. The character of Sam, portrayed as a small child wearing a burlap sack over his head, serves as the iconic mascot of Trick or Treat. He represents the spirit of Halloween and is both mischievous and dangerous. Although Trick or Treat didn't receive a wide theatrical release, it quickly gained reputation as a hidden gem among horror enthusiasts. Its clever storytelling and dark humor have made it a cult classic. Trick or Treat pays homage to classic horror movies, drawing inspiration from films like Halloween, Creepshow, and Tales from the Crypt. It captures the essence of old-school horror while bringing a fresh perspective. And that's what you want to do. If you're going to tell a story and put it in film and follow a format that was previously used, I think you need to have that fresh perspective. You need to have that updated story. Give that shock and awe. Give that interconnection. And again, compared to Creepshow, again, Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Hood, which is another great anthology. Again, Trick or Treat did it extremely well. Trick or Treat was initially scheduled for release in 2007, but was delayed due to various reasons. And this delay only heightened the anticipation and the buzz surrounding this movie. And despite that initial delay in its release, Trick or Treat ultimately found its way to audiences just in time for Halloween, making it the perfect seasonal viewing experience. And again, I agree. This has been my number one since I decided to do this DadPooLoWeen list. Many fans of the film have adopted the tradition of watching Trick or Treat every Halloween as part of their festivities. Again, solidifying its status as a Halloween staple. And even though I do watch this every Halloween since it came into my life, if I do DadPooLoWeen next year, I'm gonna have 31 different movies that I'm gonna watch. Doesn't mean that those 31 are better or worse than anything I had on my list right now. It's just I'm not going to put out the same list year after year. That's kind of stale and boring. I'm going to put out DadPooLoWeen 31 Days of Horror, 31 different movies that I'm watching next year, because next year, who knows what comes out in 2024. Or maybe there's something that came out in 2023 that I just, I haven't had on the list this year. So I'm going to keep it fresh, keep it different, keep it engaging, and keeping it new. So again, I hope you guys like, subscribe, follow, and turn on notifications so you guys know when these videos and other videos like that are released. So one of the standout elements of Trick or Treat is how the stories within the film are interconnected. Characters from one story often cross paths with characters from another, creating a cohesive narrative, which I had touched on in the opening. This interweb web that's weaved with these characters. Like I said, if you just pay attention to the background, because your focus is always on that main character walking at you, but look at the background. You'll notice a lot of stuff in the background is stuff that we have maybe just saw, or things that we're going to see in the future, and you're going to go back and say, oh, I remember, 40 minutes in, we saw that same thing, and now we get to see it from their perspective. It's the POV. The POV just changes throughout this film, and it's perfectly done POV. This movie, I just can't stop raving about it. Throughout the movie, Sam adheres to a set of Halloween traditions and rules, such as always wearing a costume, respecting the dead, and ensuring that every household gives out candy. So, like I said, those rules, very similar to Hubie Halloween. Just a different set of rules. Maybe Sam is a little bit darker and twisted, but I can see where these two movies correlate with each other and kind of are the same. But yeah, if you haven't seen Hubie Halloween, I just watched that recently. Thanks, Ben Ritt. It was a great movie. Thanks for recommending it. I think you guys should check it out as well. It's a good watch with yourself, with your family, your friends. Halloween party, have it on. It's just it's a fun watch. Just a couple more here. Trick or Treat had a lasting impact on the horror genre, inspiring other filmmakers to explore anthology storytelling and Halloween-themed movies. Before Trick or Treat, Halloween-themed horror movies were relatively scarce. The film has ignited a resurgence of interest in Halloween as a setting for horror storytelling. And Trick or Treat has continued its legacy beyond the film format with a series of comic books, expanding the universe and diving deeper into the mythos of Sam and Halloween, which I think that's what's going to pull from for the sequel. So, again, very, very excited for what's to come. Very excited for horror in general. I feel like we have, between independent directors and some studio directors, Jason Blum, James Wan, the people over at A24, and then all the indie directors. I think horror is and always will be in the right hands. It's just now get out there, tell your story, and do it right. I mean, hell, even the people that did Winnie the Pooh, yeah, that first movie might not look well, but their intent wasn't to make, this blockbuster attraction. I'm sure they aspired for success, and they had certain financial goals they wanted to hit, but their budget wasn't there. It showed, but it was a great movie, and now we're getting a sequel with a larger budget and a larger following. Same with like Damien Leone and Art the Clown, Terrifier. First one was mind-blowing. Second one was mind-destroying. And then now this third one's going to be Art Takes on Christmas. So, that's just like cannot wait for that. And if you're lucky enough to watch Terrifier 2 this weekend in theaters and get to see that teaser, it's not showing in theaters near me, unfortunately. So I hope that teaser is leaked. Not leaked. I hope someone shares it online for people that can't actually make it. I'm curious to see what that teaser looks like, and see where Art the Clown goes for Christmas. So that'll, again, be great. So what are your guys' thoughts on Trick or Treat? Is this like I said, is this a movie you've seen? If you haven't seen, do you plan on watching it? Has my review swayed you one way or another to check it out? Yeah, so let me know in the comments below. Let's go through some images from the film, and then we'll talk about some future content. And again, I have that surprise for you at the end announcement. So here's a shot from what they're watching on TV. An older horror movie, which kind of was shown throughout the entire film. And we have here Principal Wilkins with Charlie in the beginning, carving the pumpkin, or taking a knife out of the pumpkin just before Charlie gets sick and dies in front of him. And here's a cool poster of Trick or Treat. Like that, Sam is just an iconic character, and I really hope that I see a lot of Sams tonight while I'm out trick or treating. I think that costume is phenomenal. It's simple yet effective, and I'd love to see kids dress up as horror figures. It's so great. It's so great. Here's the scene in the opening with Emma. Sam puts the lollipop in her mouth, hung her up. Just a violent, gory scene. Very crazy. Here's the picture of the kids on the bus before they embark on that fateful journey. And you can see Krieg on the right, which didn't know that was Krieg till the end. Here's the picture. Just a creepy kid standing, staring at Emma, and you're not knowing what's going on with this scene. You're thinking that maybe that might be someone associated with some of the mayhem and murder in this film, because it's just a long, drawn out shot from seeing Emma, going back to this character, and back to Emma, and then back to this character, but the character's just a kid waiting for his ride. So it kind of threw you off. Here's a part where, if you can pause it just right in the film, you can get a nice view of Sam's skull / pumpkin jack-o'-lantern mask. It's just his face is super cool under it. Yeah. And they actually, Krieg's character was designed after John Carpenter. You can definitely see the similarities there. Great homage to John Carpenter. And then here is the Halloween town party, and in the back you can kind of see the robots. You just gotta really look. You can see Emma passing by. You just gotta be watchful. You just gotta really have your eyes open and pay attention, because it's like a blink and you missed it. Even as Laurie's walking, she bumps into Emma, and it's like a quick scene, but then you don't realize the impact of that scene that it has in the story. Again, here's another creepy picture of Principal Wilkins, and just his character was just so nutty, zany, dark, humorous. Just a Dylan Baker that I enjoy. It's such a great scene. And then we have Lori, who this is coming right out of the comic book, and Lori dressed as the Little Red Riding Hood. So a great adaptation. And here's Lori dressed. So there's all her friends are all dressed as different princesses, and they have a horrific secret to tell. Let's see here. Oh, here's the picture I was talking about earlier when his dad takes him down to the basement, and you think that, oh no, this is it for Billy. Billy's about to become worm food. And then the whole time with this kid is playing his part so well, and he's like, I still need help with the eyes, and he's being so serious about it. And then it's shown that it's Charlie's head, and just terrifying. I want more Billy in the sequel too. I think Billy can be that crazy character that you could see get intertwined with some stories like his father did. Like, obviously his father's gone now, and his mother. So like Billy's alone. What does Billy do? Maybe him and Sam will team up to enforce Halloween, or I don't know what's gonna happen. So yeah, here's some pictures that I made of DadPooL within the movie. So there's me, and that's the best jack-o'-lantern face that it made. So like, that's supposed to be like Sam. I know it's not orange. I know it's not pajamas, but that's the picture it made. I think this picture's a lot better because it actually took what the skull looks like underneath that burlap sack and kind of made it with DadPooL's colors, and then it's got the trick or treat in the bottom. I really like that image. That's a very, very, very cool image that I created. Then there's some other Halloween pumpkin ones that I created. Me watching Trick or Treat, got the DVD all ready to go. About to pop it in, start to watch it. Just some carving pumpkins with some candy. It looks like a Milky Way. Just looks like a Snickers. I'm kind of like got like a black phone mask on. It's just a lot of fun with Bing. You can make a lot of different crazy and there's me watching my own movie on Halloween, dressed as Halloween. It's just crazy. So again, if you're watching this, I hope that during the video you smash that like and you hit the follow and subscribe and turn the bell on, because yes, DadPooLoWeen is ending today. Today's the last video for this series, but I do have a new series coming out. I'm hoping to have it out this weekend. Like I said, I'm having laser surgery this Friday in just a few days. So with my vision being gone in my left eye, they're trying to save my right eye. So with having laser surgery, my eye will be patched. I forgot how long it has to be patched for before I can take it off. But I hope to have that video of this Horror Then and Now out by Sunday. Horror Then and Now is the new series coming in November, where I'm going to be discussing the original versus remakes. So make sure you check that out. if you want to be a part of it, hit me up on Twitter and hit the description, and we can link up and we could talk about any franchise you want, as long as it had a remake, and we can discuss whether you loved it, hate it, and all that. Great conversation, have lots of fun. So yeah, look forward to it. I mean, this channel's open to anybody, so if you want to come on and talk, just have a mic and make sure it works, and have a great topic, and we can definitely have a conversation. In December, I'm doing the 25 days of Christmas horror, so each day I'll be discussing a different holiday slasher or dark themed Christmas movie, so can't wait for that. I already know what's going to be on the docket for next year. Terrifier 3, can't wait for that. Oh, it's going to be such a great Christmas movie. It's going to be iconic. And then January is where I'm going to be doing a logo change. So here are the 3 choices you can choose from. You can vote right now on the YouTube community post. We have this one here, 2 mics, 1 DadPooL. DadPooL's discussion. We have this one, which is kind of my favorite. DadPooL's discussions kind of got that podcast set up. And then here's the last one, DadPooL's discussion. It's kind of like a mobile type stream setup. So yeah, vote on yours. It's up right now on the community post. Go and vote and let me know which one is your favorite. And one series that I'll be starting in January, which I've been talking about it, and I finally came up with a design and a name. So let me know what you guys think of this. So I'll be explaining why if the sequel to a movie either hurt or helped the franchise. And we're going to call it DadPooL's Discussion Presents 2 Can Play This Game. And that, can 2 really play the game? Can 2 really hold up the original? Can the second movie really carry that franchise forward, or does it slow it down and stunt its growth? So I'll have a lot of choices to choose from when it comes to first movie and sequels, and I want your input as well. What sequel do you think either hurt or helped a franchise? I'm curious. Let me know in the comments, and that video could be featured on a future episode of 2 Can Play This Game. So yeah, very excited to announce that. So, and then amongst other things that we got coming out, I'll be starting the 50 greatest heroes and villains of film, and then the best 100 movies in the EFI. I want to get that started as well. So again, hit the description, check out all the links, go follow me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, follow me on Kick. Hit up the merch store. New designs dropping weekly. Get your hoodies, your hats, your t-shirts, your posters, whatever. It's all in there, affordable, and it all supports me, and appreciate it if you do. And then the podcast too. I'm going to continue on the podcast because I do have 6 episodes up now. I have the first installment of The Raven's Reckoning. I have 2 more stories to complete that trilogy of The Raven. That will be up in the next month, so look for that. I know it's been a while, but they're all like 4 or 5 minutes, so definitely check them out. And lastly, I hope you guys had a great Halloween. Hope you guys are safe. Again, 2 things: just watch a movie, plan to watch tonight, and hug and hold your loved ones close. And until the next video, have a great night. Be safe. I love you all. Good night.